Hello everyone, before we get into the story, I want to explain a bit about the situation that is happening right now. As you know, I have two channels. However, at the moment, both of them are experiencing monetization issues due to a partner program suspension. That means for the time being, there is no real difference whether I upload videos on the first channel or the second one, because neither of them is able to generate revenue right now. Because of that, I have decided to continue the next parts on the main channel only, so the story stays organized in one place and you do not have to feel confused switching between channels. So moving forward, all continuations of this series will be focused on the main channel until the situation returns to normal. Thank you very much to all of you who continue to support, watch, and encourage me. Alright, without further ado, let us dive straight into the recap of Tsukimichi, Moonlit Fantasy Part 42. Alright guys, in the previous video, we saw major developments in Assora, starting from Tomoe and Shiki's plan to re-evaluate the adventurers to the gradual revelation of the threat posed by Tomoki's charm ability. On the other side, Makoto's personal relationship with Mio and Tomoe also moved to a much deeper stage, and eventually that news became known to all the residents of Assora. So, in this part, the focus of the story is on the chaos of rumors that link the Kuzunoha company, the Mist City, and even the anti-goddess faction that has begun moving behind the scenes. Now, let us continue to part 42. The story begins in Assora. Right now, the atmosphere in Assora is truly unusual. The residents are busily congratulating Makoto. As you already know, Makoto finally slept together with Mio and Tomoe. Without him realizing it, that news spreads at an incredible speed throughout all of Assora. And the reason is none other than Mio and Tomoe themselves, who casually told many people about it. For Makoto, this is clearly embarrassing. He never imagined that something so personal would turn into public consumption. However, instead of calming down, the residents of Assora actually use it as a reason to hold a massive celebration. The livelier the party becomes, the deeper Makoto sinks into endless embarrassment. However, the surprises do not stop there. Suddenly, strange reports begin to arrive one after another. Fruit harvests and wild meat suddenly become abundant. Trees that are not supposed to be ready are already ripe for picking, and even the sea seems to throw fish onto the land. The trees along the roads bloom all at once, as if they are also celebrating that day. Seeing this phenomenon that feels like nature's blessing, Emma immediately moves quickly. She gathers the cooks and enthusiastically orders the preparation of red rice and celebration soup in large quantities. Even glutinous rice that is not yet in harvest season is forced to be picked. It is as if that day is not just an ordinary party, but a celebration that must be supported by the entire universe. Interestingly, this joyful feeling is not only felt inside Assora. Outside as well, the impact can be felt, even though the reason for the celebration is not openly explained. The Kuzunoha company suddenly offers massive discounts, ranging from 90% off to completely free. Discounts that are truly insane. Other merchants are naturally shocked and confused, unable to understand how Kuzunoha can take such an extreme step. Long story short, 1 week later the grand festival finally ends, and everything returns to normal activities as usual. After receiving information from Tamaki, the Kuzunoha company immediately investigates the picnic rose garden. The result is quite relieving. Not a single participant is affected by Tomoki's charm. That means the party is safe. After that, they question Shi, and this is where it is revealed that Shi may have been affected by Tomoki during her battle against Ryoma. It is suspected that when Shi successfully defeated Ryoma, somehow Tomoki's charm attached to her and began influencing her. Sometime later, Makoto is summoned by Rembrandt and they meet. Makoto first apologizes for the huge commotion caused by the massive discounts carried out by the Kuzunoha company. However, Rembrandt responds to it casually. According to him, since its very first appearance, Kuzunoha has always created a stir, so something like that is not strange. Their conversation then shifts to the negotiations with the Ion Kingdom. The situation is still difficult and has not gone according to expectations. Even so, Rembrandt remains optimistic that the independence of Tsige City will soon be achieved. On the other hand, it is also revealed that Sif is actually capable of using long-distance telepathic transmission, an extraordinary ability because she can contact Rembrandt's company branches without any meaningful distance limitation. However, the topic that troubles Rembrandt the most is actually about a man named Assora, who is rumored to be close to his daughter, Yuno. Rembrandt asks Makoto to explain in detail what truly happened during his children's dangerous training in Kanaoi City. From this, it becomes clear that Rembrandt does not seem to know the whole truth. He may only know that his children underwent harsh training, without realizing that they were once involved in a real battlefield. In the end, what stands out the most is the side of a worried father. He keeps grumbling, complaining about how his daughter could start a relationship without his permission, accusing Assora of being an untrustworthy man, and even swearing that he will never approve of that relationship. Hearing all those complaints, Makoto can only laugh bitterly in his heart, witnessing the typical outburst of a father who is overly protective of his daughter, who is beginning to grow into adulthood. After the meeting ends, Makoto takes his leave. However, before he truly departs, Rembrandt reminds him of something quite serious. Right now, there are many spies infiltrating various regions such as Limia, Laurel, Gritonia, and of course Tsige. Previously, Rembrandt had already purged them before the Declaration of Independence, but that only lasted temporarily. Tsige is an open city that never refuses anyone. The infiltrators can easily disguise themselves as merchants or adventurers. If they are forced out, the economic wheel of the city could actually be disrupted. Because of that, these spies are now moving more carefully, beginning to map out influential figures whom they can approach. Not long after that, while Makoto is casually walking in Tsige City, he realizes that he is being followed by two people. He deliberately lures them into a narrow alley. The moment the two of them attempt to confront him, Makoto acts swiftly and knocks them unconscious before they can speak further. And apparently, that is not the last of them. On that single day alone, Makoto captures 10 spies. Interestingly, they are not from the same group. There are many different factions targeting him. Among them, there is one that is quite surprising. One of them turns out to be from an anti-goddess group called Art. Hearing that, Makoto is fairly shocked. He did not expect that in this world there exists an organization that openly opposes the goddess. Moreover, that group has grown quite rapidly in the Ion Kingdom. In his mind, if such an ideology continues to expand, Ion may collapse on its own. For Makoto, a situation like this actually opens an opportunity for Tsige to move closer to independence. However, there is another side that makes him feel disgusted. That extremist organization does not only blame the goddess for all the chaos in the world, but also justifies any means necessary to eliminate her worshippers. Such blind ideology feels repulsive in Makoto's eyes. Even though he himself hates the goddess, he does not support dirty and fanatical methods like that at all. There is even one trivial thing that irritates him. The name of the organization, ARC, sounds too similar to Assora. He truly hopes that the radical group would change their name. The next day, Makoto and Mio head toward the bleakest place in Tsige City, a lawless area where all kinds of crimes gather. From theft, robbery, murder to other criminal acts, everything exists there. That place is known as Da Street, the dark side of Tsige. Makoto obtains information about this location from a revolutionary spy, so he decides to investigate it directly together with Mio. The atmosphere there feels silent and heavy. People hide behind the darkness, observing without being seen. Makoto can actually sense their presence, but since they are only watching, he chooses to remain calm. A few moments later, he and Mio feel a group of people begin to move. However, before the situation develops any further, Makoto immediately approaches them and eventually faces someone. That person behaves rather rudely toward Makoto. Hearing his tone of voice, Mio reacts harshly and without hesitation throws out a deadly threat. The man immediately becomes frightened and introduces himself as Kanta. With a trembling voice, he explains that he does not intend to belittle or insult Kuzunoha. However, for Mio, his attitude and manner of speaking are already enough to be considered an insult. Makoto then stops Mio, who is becoming more emotional. In his heart, he feels that recently Mio and Tomoe have become increasingly fierce. He brings Mio this time because he feels that Tomoe has been too aggressive lately, but it turns out that Mio is not much different. Meanwhile, Kanta is truly terrified. He promises that he will learn to speak more politely to important people and continues bowing his head as a form of apology. After seeing his sincerity, Mio finally forgives him on the condition that he does not repeat the same mistake. Kanta turns out to be only a guard of that place. He then invites Makoto and Mio to meet their leader. Here, Another important fact is revealed. The anti-goddess group has apparently investigated the relationship between the Kuzunoha company and Mist City. As already known, Makoto occasionally opens access from Assora to the outside world in the form of a city called Mist City. The group realizes that the materials and products circulating in Mist City are similar to those belonging to the Kuzunoha company. From there, they begin to suspect that there is a connection between the two. In addition, the first appearance of Mist City and the Kuzunoha company happens at almost the same time. This is what makes the anti-goddess faction increasingly convinced that the two are related. Even though Makoto denies the accusation, for them that denial means nothing. Their belief has already taken root. The members of the faction also believe that the demon who rules Mist City is the Messiah they have been waiting for. This belief emerges after the incident of the Golden Pillar of Light appearing near Limia. That event refers to the incident in the anime episode 11, when Makoto is forcibly teleported by the goddess to Sophia's location. The golden yellow teleportation light is clearly seen by many people. Since then, rumors begin circulating about a demon who appears from that light. Combined with the destruction left behind from the fierce battle between Makoto and Sophia, people become increasingly convinced that the area is destroyed by a demon with power equal to the goddess. Those rumors are then linked to Mist City. The anti-goddess faction worships the demon who rules that city as a symbol of their hope. Ironically, without them realizing it, the figure they consider their messiah is actually Makoto himself. However, his true identity is still a mystery to them. Things become even more chaotic as rumors spread that the leader of Mist City is a high-ranking member of the anti-goddess faction, and that the mysterious city is actually named Ark, a name exactly the same as that radical faction. This story begins when several adventurers once visit Mist City. They hear residents talking about the capital of Assora. However, due to the demi-human language barrier, the name Assora sounds like Ark. From that misunderstanding, a major rumor begins to form. The situation becomes more complicated when the Kuzunoha company is also linked to the Revolutionary Army. Kuzunoha is known to want to liberate Tsige and even invites many powerful adventurers from Laurel. All those pieces of information are combined by the rumor spreaders, making Makoto feel that the situation has truly become more and more chaotic. Meanwhile, several major merchants gather once again, and of course, Rembrandt is among them. In that meeting, a representative from the Batoma company states that this session discusses the alleged connection between the Kuzunoha company and Mist City, which is also suspected of being linked to the Revolutionary Army. Rembrandt is surprised to hear those accusations. He examines the documents presented as evidence. Meanwhile, the Batoma representative continues speaking at length, concluding that Kuzunoha has connections with the Revolutionary Army and even with the anti-goddess faction. In short, Batoma attempts to steer public opinion into believing that the Kuzunoha company is a threat. However, behind all of that, it is clear that Batoma is actually unhappy with the rapid growth of Kuzunoha. These accusations feel like an attempt to gather support to hinder their competitor. Rembrandt firmly denies all those accusations. He states that the information is merely rumors and does not have a strong foundation. He even reveals that he has investigated Da Street and knows that Makoto personally went there to trace the origin of the rumors. Hearing that, Batoma is shocked. He does not expect a major merchant to step into a dirty and dangerous place like that. For Rembrandt, that is precisely proof of Makoto's courage. He dares to directly prove that he is not guilty. A few moments later, the couple company stops the debate that is beginning to heat up. They believe that the argument will not bring any results. Couple then raises another topic that they previously discussed with the Rembrandt company. He proposes that all parties discuss that topic together. Hearing that, Rembrandt is quite surprised, because Couple finally becomes willing to bring up an issue that has so far only been discussed behind closed doors. So that is the recap of Part 42 from Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy.